3 hours a day. 3 hours a day. Most people waste that much time without even noticing, scrolling, watching, complaining, waiting for Friday, waiting for motivation, waiting for life to start. But what if I told you that 3 focused hours a day could completely change the next 30 years of your life? 30 years from now, you will either thank yourself or regret yourself. The difference, what you do with those 3 hours. Today, I want to talk about 5 powerful truths that can turn 3 daily hours into a lifetime of growth, freedom, and impact. Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you are investing time, you are investing energy, you are investing attention. The only question is, what are you investing it into? Because small daily investments create massive long-term returns, not overnight, not next week, but over years, over decades, over a lifetime. We live in a world obsessed with instant results, overnight success, viral fame, quick money, but that's not how real transformation works. Real growth is quiet, it's repetitive, it's often boring. And that's why most people never experience it. Think about money for a moment. Compound interest is often called one of the most powerful forces in the world. Albert Einstein famously referred to it as the 8th wonder of the world. Why? Because when you consistently invest small amounts over time, the growth accelerates. It starts slow, almost invisible, but eventually it becomes unstoppable. Your habits work the same way. If you read 10 pages a day, that's about 3,650 pages a year. That's roughly 12 to 15 books annually. In 10 years, you've read over 120 books. Do you think that changes the way you think, the way you speak, the way you see opportunity? Of course it does. But here's the truth. On day 1, you don't feel different. After 1 week, you don't feel like a genius. After 1 month, you don't feel transformed. Because we underestimate what small actions do over long periods of time, a 1% improvement every day might feel meaningless. But mathematically, improving 1% daily compounds dramatically over a year. It's not about dramatic leaps. It's about tiny, relentless steps forward. Imagine 2 people. The first person wakes up and chooses comfort every day. They scroll for an hour. They delay their goals. They tell themselves they'll start tomorrow. The second person wakes up and invests just 1 focused hour into learning a skill, 1 hour into health, 1 hour into growth. After 1 day, there's no visible difference. After 1 month, still not much. The gap begins. After 5 years, the difference is undeniable. After 10 years, they're living completely different lives, not because of luck, not because of talent, because of daily investment. Because of daily investment, look at elite performers. Look at athletes, creators, innovators. Consider someone like Kobe Bryant. His greatness wasn't built in the spotlight of championship games. It was built in empty gyms at 5 a.m. It was built in daily practice when nobody was watching. Or think about entrepreneurs like Elon Musk. Whatever you think about him, the consistent pattern is clear. Long hours, constant learning, daily problem solving. Success wasn't a single event. It was accumulated effort. The world only sees the explosion. They don't see the slow build. And that's what small daily investments are. The slow build. You don't see muscles grow after 1 workout, but skip workouts for 6 months and you'll see that result too. The body compounds either forward or backward. You don't become unhealthy overnight. It's the soda here. The missed walk there, the late nights stacking up, tiny decisions repeated daily. The same principle works in reverse. 1 glass of water, 1 workout, 1 chapter, 1 hour of focused skill building. Small, consistent actions are like seeds. You plant them in silence. You water them in discipline. And for a long time, nothing seems to happen, but underground, roots are forming. They quit before the roots take hold. Research on habit formation shows that identity shifts happen through repetition. When you consistently act in alignment with a behavior, you begin to see yourself differently. You're not just someone who works out. You become someone who values health. You're not just someone who reads occasionally. You become a learner. That identity shift is powerful because once your identity changes, your standards change. And when your standards change, your life changes. Small daily investments don't just build results, they build character. They teach you patience in a world addicted to speed. They teach you discipline in a culture driven by comfort. They teach you faith in the process when there's no applause. Consider the research popularized by Malcolm Gladwell about deliberate practice. While the 10-0-0-0 hour rule is often simplified, the deeper message is clear. Mastery requires time. focus, repeated effort. Nobody stumbles into excellence. A musician practices scales for years before performing on big stages. A writer drafts thousands of pages before publishing something powerful. A public speaker gives small talks before commanding large audiences. Behind every overnight success are thousands of invisible hours. And here's what's beautiful. You don't need 10 hours a day to start. You need consistency. 30 minutes of learning every day equals over 180 hours a year. That's the equivalent of multiple college courses for free at your pace. In 5 years, that's over 1,800 hours. That level of depth separates amateurs from professionals. The problem is we overestimate what we can do in a week and underestimate what we can do in a decade. A decade is powerful. 10 years of daily investment in your health could mean the difference between chronic illness and vitality. 10 years of saving and investing could mean the difference between financial stress and financial stability. 10 years of skill building could mean the difference between being stuck and being sought after. And here's the emotional truth. Your future self is watching. The version of you 10 years from now is either begging you to start or thanking you for not quitting. Picture yourself at 50, 60, 70 years old. Looking back, what will hurt more, the effort it took to stay disciplined or the regret of knowing you could have done more? Regret compounds too. Missed chances, delayed dreams, untapped potential. But so does confidence. Every time you show up for yourself, you build evidence. You prove that you can rely on you, that internal trust becomes unshakable. And when life gets hard, because it will, that foundation matters. Daily investment builds resilience. It builds mental toughness. It builds belief. You don't suddenly become confident. Confidence is earned through repetition, through keeping promises to yourself, through choosing growth when comfort calls your name. The world is noisy. Distractions are everywhere. Your phone is designed to steal your attention. Entire industries compete for your time. So when you choose to invest even one focused hour into yourself, you're doing something radical. You are reclaiming ownership of your life. You are saying my future matters more than this momentary comfort. That's powerful. And it doesn't require perfection. You will miss days. You will fall short sometimes. The goal isn't flawless execution. The goal is long-term commitment. If you fall, you return the next day. If you slip, you reset. Because compounding doesn't demand perfection. It demands perfection. It demands persistence. Small daily investments create massive long-term returns because they align you with time itself. Instead of fighting time, you partner with it. Instead of letting years drift by, you stack them. Day by day, week by week, year by year, until one day people look at you and say, you're lucky. And you'll know the truth. It wasn't luck. It was the 30 minutes you chose to read. The workout you didn't skip. The skill you practiced when nobody cared. The savings you set aside. The courage to begin when results were invisible. Massive returns don't come from massive actions once. They come from small actions repeated relentlessly. So start small. Start today. Plant the seed. Water it daily. Protect it from distraction and trust the process long enough to see the forest grow. Because if you commit to small daily investments, the future won't just surprise you. It will reward you. Freedom is a word that almost everyone loves, but very few truly understand. We say we want freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of choice, freedom to wake up and decide what our day looks like. But here's the hard truth. Freedom is not given. It's built, and it's built through value. In a world that is changing faster than ever, the people who experience real freedom are not the ones who cling to one identity, one Joe. B title, one skill. They are the ones who adapt. They are the ones who stack skills. Skill stacking creates freedom. We were raised to believe that we must pick one thing. Choose a lane, stay in it, become the best at one narrow path. But the world no longer rewards only specialization. It rewards combinations. It rewards adaptability. It rewards those who can connect dots across industries. Look around you. Technology is evolving at an incredible pace. Entire job categories are being reshaped. According to reports from the World Economic Forum, automation and artificial intelligence are transforming millions of roles globally. That's not fear. That's reality. So the question becomes, how do you protect yourself in a world that refuses to stay still? You build layers. Imagine two people. One person learns a single technical skill and stops there. The other learns that same skill, but also learns communication. also learns sales, also learns how to think critically. Who has more options? Who can pivot faster? Who can create opportunities instead of waiting for them? Skill stacking is not about becoming the best in the world at one thing. It's about becoming uniquely valuable by combining multiple competencies. When you stack skills, you multiply your leverage. Think about someone like Elon Musk. He is not just an engineer, not just a businessman, not just a marketer. His power comes from understanding engineering, finance, branding, leadership, and risk-taking. It's the combination that makes him formidable. Or consider creators in today's digital world. A person who understands video editing alone might struggle. A person who understands storytelling alone might struggle. But someone who understands storytelling, video production, branding, and audience psychology, that person becomes unstoppable. It's not the individual skill. I tease the stack. And here's the emotional truth. When you stack skills, you reduce fear. Fear often comes from dependency. Dependency on one paycheck, one employer, one narrow expertise. When that single pillar shakes, everything feels unstable. But when you build multiple pillars, your foundation strengthens. You may start as a teacher, then you learn public speaking, then you learn content creation, then you learn online marketing. Suddenly, you are not just a teacher, you are an educator, a speaker, a creator, a consultant. You can teach in classrooms, on stages, online platforms. Your income streams multiply, your confidence grows, freedom expands. Skill stacking gives you control over your trajectory. In the past, job security meant staying with one company for 30 years. Today, security comes from adaptability, the ability to learn quickly, the ability to shift, the ability to reinvent yourself when necessary. Research consistently shows that lifelong learners are more resilient in volatile job markets. When you build the habit of acquiring new skills, you build psychological flexibility. You stop seeing change as a threat and start seeing it as opportunity. And that shift alone is powerful. Think about the rise of remote work. Someone with technical skills but no communication ability may struggle in virtual environments. Someone with communication skills but no digital literacy may also struggle, but combine both, that individual thrives. Skill stacking is practical, but it's also deeply personal. Because when you challenge yourself to learn new things, you stretch your identity. You stop labeling yourself too narrowly. You stop saying, I'm just this. You start saying, I can become more. And growth is addictive in the best way possible. The first time you learn something new, it feels uncomfortable. You feel slow. You feel behind. You feel uncertain. But that discomfort is expansion. That discomfort is proof you're building new capacity. Now imagine stacking that discomfort daily. 1 hour of learning communication skills, 1 hour of learning a technical tool, 1 hour of improving physical health. So over time, those hours compound. You don't just gain skills, you gain confidence in your ability to learn anything. That's real freedom. Because if you believe you can learn anything, you stop fearing the future. Look at someone like Oprah Winfrey. She didn't just master one domain. She built skills in interviewing, storytelling, branding, leadership, business management, and emotional intelligence. The result? Influence that spans industries. It's the stack. Skill stacking also creates financial freedom because it increases your value in the marketplace. When you can solve multiple problems, you become indispensable. When you understand how businesses operate, how people think, how technology works, you become an asset. And assets have options. Options to negotiate, options to move, options to build, options to walk away. Freedom is options. The more skills you stack, the more doors open. But here's the part most people miss. Skill stacking requires humility. You must be willing to be a beginner again and again. You must be willing to look inexperienced, to ask questions, to fail publicly, to try and not be great at first. That's why most people don't do it. They protect their ego instead of expanding their capacity. But if you can silence that voice that says, you're too late, or you're too old, or you're not talented enough, you unlock something extraordinary. Because the internet has made skill acquisition more accessible than ever. Courses, tutorials, mentors, communities, knowledge is everywhere. The only barrier left is discipline. And when you combine discipline with curiosity, you become dangerous in the most positive way possible. Skill stacking also enhances creativity. When you understand multiple domains, you can cross-pollinate ideas. Innovation often happens at the intersection of fields. The person who understands psychology and marketing creates compelling campaigns. The person who understands technology and design builds elegant products. Your unique combination becomes your competitive advantage. No one else has your exact stack. That's powerful. And the beauty is you don't need to transform overnight. You can start small, learn one complementary skill at a time. If you're in finance, learn communication. If you're in healthcare, learn leadership. If you're in creative arts, learn business fundamentals. Layer by layer, brick by brick. Freedom doesn't arrive as a gift. Fern doesn't arrive as a gift. It emerges as a byproduct of value creation. When you can create value in multiple ways, you are no longer trapped by circumstances. Even if you lose one opportunity, you can generate another. Even if one industry slows down, you can pivot. You are no longer at the mercy of change. You ride it. And that confidence changes how you walk into rooms. It changes how you negotiate. It changes how you plan your future. You stop asking, what if this doesn't work? You start asking, what else can I build? That mindset shift is transformative. Skill stacking is not about chasing trends every week. It's about intentionally building complementary strengths that enhance each other over time. It's strategic, it's thoughtful, it's long-term. And when you look back after 5 or 10 years of consistent stacking, you realize something incredible. You are no longer limited by the role you started in T. You are no longer confined to the identity you once held. You have built leverage. You have built adaptability. You have built freedom. You just change your bank account. It changes your self-belief. It changes how you show up for your family. It changes the risks you are willing to take. It changes the dreams you are bold enough to pursue. Because when you know you can build yourself again and again, the world feels less intimidating. Skill stacking creates freedom because it shifts power back into your hands. Not overnight, not instantly. But steadily, through intentional growth, through courageous learning, through the willingness to evolve. And in a world that refuses to stay the same, the greatest security you can ever build is the ability to become more than you were yesterday. Motivation feels powerful. It feels electric. It's the rush you get after watching an inspiring video. The surge of energy after hearing a powerful speech. The moment you say, that's it, I'm changing my life. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. Motivation is temporary. It comes in waves, it rises with the moment, and it disappears the moment life gets uncomfortable. Discipline is different. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't wait for the perfect mood. It doesn't require hype music or the right weather or a fresh Monday morning. Discipline shows up anyway. And that's why discipline beats motivation every time. Think about how many times you felt motivated to start something, a new workout routine, a new business idea, a new study plan. You felt unstoppable. You promised yourself this time would be different. And maybe for a week it was. Then reality hit. You were tired. Work was stressful. You didn't sleep well. Someone criticized you. The results didn't come fast enough. And suddenly the motivation that felt so strong vanished. That's not because you're weak. That's because motivation is an emotion and emotions are unstable. Discipline is a decision repeated. Look at elite performers in any field. Consider someone like Kobe Bryant. People talk about his championships, his game-winning shots, his confidence. But what separated him wasn't game night emotion. It was 4 a.m. practices. It was shooting hundreds of extra shots when no cameras were rolling. He didn't rely on feeling inspired. He relied on structure. Or think about innovators like Elon Musk. Building companies that reshape industries isn't fueled by daily excitement alone. It's fueled by relentless execution, meetings when you're exhausted, problems when you're frustrated, decisions when the pressure is overwhelming. Motivation might start the journey. Discipline is so powerful is because it removes negotiation. When you rely on motivation, every day becomes a debate. Do I feel like working out today? Do I feel like studying tonight? Do I feel inspired to write? But when you build discipline, the conversation changes. This is what I do. No debate, no drama, no emotional voting, just action. And action repeated consistently changes your identity. There's powerful research in psychology about habit formation and identity-based behavior. When you consistently perform an action, you begin to see yourself differently. You're not someone who sometimes works out. You become someone who trains. You're not someone who occasionally studies. You become someone who prepares. Discipline shapes identity. Identity shapes destiny. Motivation is external. It's triggered by something outside of you, a speech, a quote, a crisis. Discipline is internal. It's built through repetition. And here's the part that's uncomfortable. Discipline is boring. It's not glamorous to wake up early every day. It's not exciting to track your finances. It's not thrilling to practice the same skill over and over. But that boredom, it's where greatness lives. Most people quit in the boring phase. They want transformation without repetition. They want results without routine. But every extraordinary outcome is built on ordinary actions done consistently. Think about physical fitness. You don't build strength by feeling motivated once a week. You build it by showing up repeatedly, even when you're sore, even when you're tired. The body doesn't respond to excitement. The same is true for your mind. Reading one book in a burst of inspiration won't change your life. Reading daily for years will. Motivation might get you to the gym on January 1st. Discipline keeps you there in March when nobody's posting transformation pictures anymore. And here's why this matters emotionally. Because when you rely on motivation, your progress becomes fragile. Your growth depends on how you feel, and feelings are unpredictable. But when you rely on discipline, your progress becomes stable. You move forward, whether you're confident or insecure, whether you're praised or criticized, whether you're energized or exhausted. That stability builds self-trust. Every time you act, despite not feeling like it, you send yourself a powerful message. I can rely on me. That self-trust compounds. It creates quiet confidence, not loud, not performative, but deep. The kind of confidence that doesn't need applause. Let's be honest, life will not always cooperate with your plans. There will be days you're overwhelmed, days you doubt yourself, days you question if the effort is worth it. On those days, motivation will be nowhere to be found, but discipline can still be there. Discipline says, do the minimum required to stay in motion, even if it's just one page, one set, one step forward. And those small disciplined actions prevent you from sliding backward. Think about how many aims die because someone waited to feel ready. Ready is a myth. If you wait to feel confident before you act, you'll wait forever. Confidence comes after action. Discipline creates action. Action builds confidence. It's a cycle, but it starts with discipline. Look at the careers of high achievers. Consider someone like Cristiano Ronaldo. His physical conditioning, his training ethic, his relentless preparation, those weren't driven by daily emotional spikes. They were driven by standards. Standards are discipline in visible form. When your standard is high, your behavior aligns. You don't skip workouts because you don't feel like it. You don't cut corners because you're tired. You don't give half effort because no one is watching. Because your standard is internal. And that's where real power lies. Discipline also protects you from regret. Regret is heavy. It's the weight of knowing you could have done more, that you had potential but didn't act consistently enough to realize it. Discipline is insurance against that feeling. It doesn't guarantee perfection. It doesn't guarantee immediate success, but it guarantees effort, and effort compounds over months, over years, over decades. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is rarely closed by a single breakthrough moment. It's closed by daily disciplined steps. You don't write a book in one night of inspiration. You write it sentence by sentence. You don't build wealth in one motivated weekend. You build it through repeated smart decisions. You don't transform your life in one emotional surge. You transform it through structure. So how do you build discipline? If you simplify. You remove options. You create routines so strong that action becomes automatic. You decide in advance who you are. So you say, I am someone who studies. I am someone who studies. How's up? And then you act accordingly, especially when you don't feel like it. That especially is everything, because anyone can act when they are inspired. Few act when they're tired. Anyone can commit when it's easy. Few stay committed when it's uncomfortable. That's why discipline is rare. And rarity creates results. The world is full of motivated people on Monday morning. It's full of disciplined people on Thursday night when no one is watching. When you build discipline, you stop chasing emotional highs. You stop needing constant validation. You stop depending on external sparks to ignite your effort. You become self-driven. And that is freedom. freedom from excuses, freedom from the emotional roller coaster that keeps most people stuck. Discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect in action. It's choosing your long-term future over your short-term comfort. It's understanding that feelings change, but standards stay. And when you look back years from now, the results you're proud of won't come from the days you felt motivated. They'll come from the days you didn't. The mornings you woke up anyway, the nights you kept working anyway, the moments you pushed through anyway, because discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks who you've decided to become. And every time you choose action over excuse, you move closer to that person, not dramatically, not instantly, but undeniably. Discipline beats motivation every time because discipline endures. And in a world that constantly shifts, endurance is power. We live in a world that rewards speed, fast food, fast Wi-Fi, fast money, fast fame. Everything is built around now. You want entertainment? One tap. You want validation? One post. You want distraction? Endless scroll. But extraordinary lives are not built on instant gratification. They are built, in delayed gratification. They are built in the quiet moments when you choose long-term growth over short-term pleasure, when you choose discipline over comfort, when you choose the future over the present urge. Delayed gratification is not flashy. It doesn't trend. It doesn't go viral. It doesn't feel exciting in the moment, but it changes everything. There was a famous psychological experiment conducted at Stanford University known as the marshmallow experiment. Children were given a choice: eat one marshmallow now or wait a short period and receive two. Years later, researchers found that the children who were able to wait tended to perform better academically, manage stress more effectively, and demonstrate stronger life outcomes overall. It wasn't about the marshmallow. It was about self-control. It was about the ability to say, I want more later more than I want this now. That ability is rare, and rarity creates extraordinary results. Think about your daily decisions. Every day you are offered marshmallows. Sleep in or wake up early to work on your goals, spend money on impulse purchases or invest it. Scroll for hours or read, study, build. Eat what's convenient or eat what fuels you. Each choice feels small, almost insignificant, but repeated over months and years, those choices shape your life. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they consistently choose comfort. Comfort feels good in the moment. It's warm, it's easy, it's safe, but comfort is addictive. And like most addictions, it demands more over time. The more you choose immediate pleasure, the harder it becomes to delay it. But the opposite is also true. The more you practice restraint, the stronger you become. Delayed gratification is a muscle. Think about athletes. Consider someone like Cristiano Ronaldo. His success wasn't built on natural talent alone. It was built on diet discipline, relentless training, early mornings, and saying no to distractions that could have slowed him down. While others were celebrating, he was preparing. While others were relaxing, he was refining. That's delayed gratification in action. Or look at investors like Warren Buffett. His wealth wasn't created through overnight speculation. It was built through patience, through understanding compound growth, through resisting emotional reactions to short-term market swings. Patience creates power. Delayed gratification builds something deeper than success. It builds character. Because when you consistently choose the harder right over the easier wrong, you train your mind to value long-term vision over temporary emotion. And here's what makes this so powerful. Extraordinary lives are built in invisible moments. No one applauds you for studying while your friends go out. No one gives you awards for saving money instead of spending it. No one sees the nights you go to bed early to wake up and build your dream. It's lonely sometimes. It's quiet. It can feel unfair. You might watch others enjoy immediate rewards while you're putting in effort with no visible return. But here's the truth. Seeds grow underground before they break through the surface. For a long time, it looks like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. Delayed gratification is faith in the unseen. It's believing that today's discipline will become tomorrow's opportunity. And over time, something incredible happens. Your confidence grows because every time you say no to a short-term temptation, you prove to yourself that you are in control. Control builds confidence. Confidence builds momentum. Momentum builds results. We often underestimate how much power exists in simply waiting. Waiting is uncomfortable because it requires trust. Trust that the effort will pay off. Trust that consistency will compound. Trust that the sacrifice will matter. But history shows us that patience separates the extraordinary from the average. Look at creators who spend years refining their craft before being recognized. Look at entrepreneurs who build in silence before their breakthrough. Look at scholars who study for decades before making discoveries. They didn't chase applause. They chased mastery. And mastery takes time. We live in an era of comparison. Social media shows highlight reels. Success stories are compressed into headlines. It looks like people explode overnight. But behind every visible win are thousands of unseen sacrifices. Delayed gratification means you stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. It means you focus on your path. It means you accept that growth is gradual. And that gradual growth is more sustainable because quick wins often create fragile foundations. If success comes too fast, it can disappear just as quickly. But success built through years of discipline, patience, and delayed gratification, that success has roots, it has depth. Delayed gratification also strengthens emotional resilience. When you resist impulses, you strengthen your ability to endure discomfort. You become less reactive, less impulsive, more intentional. That intentionality changes how you approach relationships, money, health, and career decisions. You stop chasing instant validation in relationships. You build deep connections instead. You stop chasing quick cash. You build long-term wealth instead. You stop chasing rapid transformation. You build sustainable habits instead. And that shift transforms your life. It's not easy. You will feel left out sometimes. You will question yourself. You will wonder if the wait is worth it. But think about your future self. Picture yourself 10 years from now, 20 years from now. What kind of life do you want? Do you want stability, freedom, health, respect, impact? Freedom, health, respect, impact ID. Those outcomes are rarely built on impulsive decisions. They are built on daily discipline, on saying no when it's easier to say yes, on choosing progress over pleasure. Delayed gratification doesn't mean you never enjoy life. It means you enjoy life strategically. You earn your rewards. You align your pleasures with your goals. And that alignment creates fulfillment because true satisfaction doesn't come from constant consumption. It comes from progress. It comes from growth. It comes from knowing that you are building something meaningful. Extraordinary lives are not accidents. They are intentional. They are constructed through thousands. Yes, of small decisions made consistently over time. Every time you delay a distraction to work on your goal, you are shaping your destiny. Every time you invest instead of spend impulsively, you are shaping your future. Every time you practice instead of procrastinate, you are shaping your potential. The world will always offer you the easy option, but easy rarely leads to extraordinary. Extraordinary requires patience. It requires discipline. It requires vision. And most importantly, it requires the courage to endure short-term discomfort for long-term greatness. The ability to delay gratification is the ability to see beyond the present moment. It's the ability to say, I'm building something bigger than this feeling. And when you adopt that mindset, everything changes. You stop living reactively. You start living intentionally. You stop chasing moments. You start creating legacy. Delayed gratification builds extraordinary lives because it aligns your actions with your aspirations. It forces you to think long term. It strengthens your will. It refines your character. And in a world addicted to instant rewards, the person who can wait, the person who can endure, the person who can sacrifice today for tomorrow becomes unstoppable because time rewards patience. And patience practiced daily transforms ordinary potential into extraordinary reality. We live in a results-obsessed world. From the time we're young, we're taught to chase outcomes, get the grade, win the trophy, land the job, hit the number, build the following, make the money. Outcomes become the scoreboard of our lives, and scoreboards are loud. They tell everyone who's winning and who's losing. They're visible, they're measurable, they're easy to compare. But here's the truth that changes everything. The person you become is more important than the outcome you achieve. Because outcomes can be taken away. Titles can disappear, money can fluctuate, applause can fade, but who you become in the process, that stays with you. Think about any major goal you've ever chased. Maybe it was a degree. Maybe it was a business. Maybe it was transforming your body. When you first started, all you could see was the result, the finish line, the moment when you'd finally say, I made it. But what actually changed your life wasn't just crossing that finish line. It was who you had to become to get there, the discipline you built, the resilience you developed, the courage you discovered, the patience you practiced. Those traits didn't magically appear on the day you achieved the goal. They were forged in the struggle, and that struggle shaped you. Consider athletes who trained for years to win a championship. Think about someone like Michael Jordan. His legacy isn't just the trophies, it's the mentality, the work ethic, the relentless standard he set for himself. Even when he failed, and he failed publicly, he grew stronger. The losses shaped him as much as the wins. Or look at leaders who built global companies. Someone like Oprah Winfrey didn't just achieve success. She became a symbol of resilience, communication, empathy, and strength. Her influence isn't just about ratings or revenue. It's about the character developed through adversity. Outcomes tell part of the story. Character tells the deeper one. The danger of focusing only on outcomes is that you attach your identity to results. When things go well, you feel worthy. When things fall apart, you feel like a failure. But if you focus on who you're becoming, you win even when the result doesn't go your way, because growth never goes to waste. Not every effort leads to the outcome you expect. Businesses fail. Relationships end. Plans collapse. Sometimes you give everything you have, and it still doesn't work out. If your entire sense of worth is tied to that outcome, you break. But if you measure success by growth, by integrity, by effort, by the standards you maintained, you remain unshaken. And evolution is permanent. When you chase outcomes alone, you're tempted to cut corners, to sacrifice values for speed, to compromise character, or for quick results. But when you prioritize who you're becoming, your standards rise. You start asking different questions. Not how fast can I win, but who must I become to win the right way? That question changes everything, because becoming someone strong, disciplined, and resilient takes time. It takes patience. It takes discomfort. It means choosing integrity when shortcuts are available. It means choosing growth when comfort calls your name. It means showing up even when no one is watching. That kind of transformation is internal. Imagine two people who achieve the same financial outcome. One builds wealth through dishonesty and manipulation. The other builds it through value creation, consistency, and trust. From the outside, the numbers may look similar, but internally, they are worlds apart. One built success on a fragile foundation. The other built success on character. And character determines how long you can sustain what you achieve, because eventually outcomes reflect identity. If you become disciplined, you'll naturally produce disciplined results. If you become focused, you'll create focused progress. If you become courageous, you'll take bold actions. The identity drives the outcome. We often underestimate how powerful it is to simply become better regardless of immediate reward. Every workout shapes your discipline. Every study session sharpens your mind. Every difficult conversation strengthens your emotional maturity. Even if the visible result isn't instant, the internal change is happening. And that internal change accumulates. Over time, you look in the mirror and realize you are no longer who you used to be. You handle stress differently. You think differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. That transformation is priceless. Outcomes can be celebrated, but identity defines you. The world will always celebrate the visible, the promotions, the trophies, the numbers, but the invisible transformation, the late nights, the early mornings, the moments you chose integrity over impulse, that's where real growth happens. And here's something powerful. When you focus on becoming better, you remove fear because you stop being afraid of failure. Failure is only devastating when you think it defines you. But if you see every challenge as a shaping force, then even setbacks become valuable. You don't ask, why did this happen to me? You ask, what is this building in me? That shift creates resilience. Resilience is not built when everything goes smoothly. It's built in the moments you feel like quitting, but choose to continue. Those moments shape identity, and identity shapes destiny. There's a reason people admire individuals who overcome adversity. It's not just because they succeeded. It's because of who they became in the process. Strength forged in hardship is different from strength inherited through easy. You can feel it. You can see it. When you prioritize becoming overachieving, you stop rushing. You understand that growth has a timeline. You understand that mastery requires repetition. You understand that meaningful change is gradual, and that understanding brings peace. Because you're no longer obsessing over immediate results. You're focused on daily refinement, brick by brick, habit by habit, decision by decision. You're building yourself. And that construction project never stops. But who you are, are you more patient, more disciplined, more emotionally intelligent, more courageous, intelligent, those qualities matter more than any external metric because they influence every area of your life. Your relationships improve. Your leadership improves. Your confidence improves. And ironically, when you focus on becoming, the outcomes often follow because high quality identity produces high quality results. But even if the exact outcome shifts, the growth remains. Money can disappear. Status can fade. But discipline, wisdom, resilience, empathy, those travel with you. They shape every future opportunity. They influence every future outcome. That's why the process matters more than the prize, because the process molds you. Ego it strengthens patience. It deepens understanding. It reveals weaknesses and gives you the chance to address them. And that refinement prepares you for greater responsibilities. If you achieved massive success without becoming strong enough to handle it, it would break you. But when you grow internally first, you become capable of sustaining externally. The person you become determines what you can carry. So stop measuring your life only by what you've achieved. Just measure it by who you are becoming. Are you more disciplined than last year? Is more self-aware, more focused? This in the face of fear. That's progress. Applause quiets. But the character you built, the mindset you developed, the strength you forged, that remains. And that version of you is capable of creating new outcomes again and again. Outcomes are chapters. Identity is the author. And when you invest in becoming someone strong, grounded, and relentless in growth, you ensure that no matter what happens externally, internally, you are unshakable. The person you become is more important than the outcome, because outcomes may define moments, but who you become defines your life. You don't need 12 hours a day. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to quit your job tomorrow. You need 3 hours, 3 focused, intentional, disciplined hours, 3 hours for reading instead of scrolling, 3 hours for building instead of consuming, 3 hours for growth instead of comfort, because the next 30 years are coming either way. Time will pass. The only question is, will you pass with it or will you rise with it? 3 hours a day. That's the price. Pay it and your future will thank you.